Do I have any food on my face? I don't think so. I think we're fine. Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can see by the title of this video, today I'm going to be going over how I lost 50 pounds. This is a very overdue video. I've wanted to film this for such a long time and it's been requested by a few people already, so I'm sorry it's taken me such a long time to film. I just wanted to make sure I had everything gathered together and everything written down. So I do have a lot of notes on my phone, so if I do look down a lot it's because I'm like checking my notes, because I don't want to miss anything out. I want to start this video off with a little disclaimer before I actually get into how I lost weight. I am not a dietitian, I am not a nutritionalist. These are just things that I tried that worked for me personally and might work for somebody else, but just bear in mind that everybody is completely different, and if every single person in the entire world followed the same diet and exercise routine, we would still all look completely different because our bodies are all very different. So what worked for me might not necessarily work for you in the same way. I also want to put a little trigger warning out there. I am going to be talking about restrictive eating because the first half of my weight loss was very unhealthy, and I thought I would mention it as sort of like a what not to do, and also to bring awareness to it and attention to it, because I don't want anyone else to do what I did, so maybe it will stop other people from doing it. But if you don't want to watch that kind of thing, I will let you know when I'm about to talk about it, and I'll put like a little time at the top of the screen so you can see where to skip to in the video. But if you don't want to risk it and you just don't want to watch the video because I do talk about that kind of restrictive eating, then please just stop watching this video, because I'd prefer that you take care of yourself than watch the video. So anyway, let's get into how I lost 50 pounds. So I'm going to start with a little sort of like background story on my weight loss and when I started my journey on all that sort of thing. It all started during the first lockdown. I feel like a lot of people either gained weight during the first lockdown like I did, or they used their time to like exercise and diet and work on themselves. If you were one of those people, good for you. I really wish I did that, but I didn't. I spent most of lockdown ordering takeaways, not doing any exercise, and just sort of like sitting, playing games, watching films, and I gained a lot of weight. I felt very uncomfortable in myself. Honestly, the lowest I've ever felt in my entire life. I felt so self-conscious. My boyfriend didn't have a scale at his house at the time, so I couldn't weigh myself, but I could feel myself getting bigger. I could feel my clothes getting tighter. So when lockdown was over, and as soon as I got back to my house, I stepped on the scale and burst into tears because I weighed the heaviest weight that I have ever weighed in my entire life. I had gained around like 2.5 stone during lockdown, and bear in mind, I was already on a weight loss journey before lockdown happened. That was a breaking point for me. That's where I told myself, like, I am not going to get any bigger than this. I'm not going to let the scale go any higher. I'm not going to gain a single pound more than this. I need to stop. I need to change, because I'm just going to feel worse and worse about myself. I decided to come up with a bit of a plan that I was going to lose a certain amount of weight and I was going to become healthy and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a before and after of what I looked like, but please bear in mind that the before picture isn't when I was at my highest weight. I was so incredibly self-conscious. I have no pictures of myself from that time, but this is what I looked like. This was sort of like a stone or two into my weight loss journey, so I'd already lost some weight at this time, but I was bigger than this at my initial like biggest weight. And this is what I look like now after losing 50 pounds. I feel so much more confident and I'm feeling just genuinely so much happier now that I've lost the weight. And because that wasn't like a before of, you know, my highest weight, I'm going to include a few pictures of my face, because I did take a few pictures of my face, just not like my full body. So this was my face at my highest weight. I'm not going to specify how much I weighed, just because I am very self-conscious about it, but this is my face now. So you can just see the absolutely massive difference in my face. It just looks so much slimmer. I don't have the horrible double chin that I did before, and my cheeks just look so puffy before, and my face has got its shape back, and I'm just very happy. So now that you've seen my befores and afters, I'm going to start going into how I actually lost the weight. This is the time when I'm going to start talking about the restrictive eating, so if that is something that triggers you, please skip the video to this time when I stop talking about it. I will just go over it briefly, but if you don't want to listen to it, then please skip to this time. Okay, so here is where I went wrong. I planned to do it healthily when I started, and for the first 2 weeks I cut down my calories by just a couple hundred. I started going on the exercise bike that my boyfriend boyfriend has in his house. For 2 full weeks I was doing that. So I was weighing myself and I'd only lost 1 pound in those 2 weeks, which is fine, you know, it's still a pound less. But because I felt so bad about myself, that wasn't good enough for me. Honestly, I can't emphasize enough how bad my mental health was, and that is the reason I did this. I would not do this kind of thing now because I am a bit happier, but I basically decided that I was going to essentially starve myself to lose the weight because I was that desperate to get this off of my body. I didn't want to be in my skin, I didn't want to feel this way anymore, so I completely restricted all of my eating. But I was essentially eating the same amount of calories as like a toddler, as a child should consume in a day. So I was eating that. I also stopped exercising as well, so I was just eating a really limited amount of calories every single day. I was weighing myself at the time and the weight was just flying off me. Within the first couple of weeks I'd already lost like half a stone in like 2 weeks. I lost so much weight that I would weigh myself the next day and it would have gone down a pound. It was ridiculous. I became so obsessed with it that every single thing I ate, I recorded it all on MyFitnessPal, and I would usually stay under my calories because I felt good about staying under the limited amount of calories that I was eating. To the point where sometimes MyFitnessPal would just tell me like, you need to eat more food. This isn't enough food for you. It got so bad that every single time I took a mouthful, I would count how many mouthfuls I was eating and restrict the amount of mouthfuls that I was eating. Like, that is so unhealthy. Why? I don't know why I was doing that. It was so unhealthy, but it was working for me at the time, and I thought, yeah, this is a really good idea. I basically lost 2 stone in the space of under 2 months, which is like a stone a month. But I was feeling great. My self-confidence was going up. I was fitting in a pair of jeans that I hadn't worn in like 2 years because of the weight that I'd gained. January came around and I started getting this pain in my stomach, and I was like, this is strange, because it would be like a slight squeezing pain in my stomach. It would come and it would last a couple seconds and it would disappear. There was one night where I got the squeezing pain in my stomach and it was so severe it started making me cry, and then I went to A&E once because I also got the squeezing pain again in the evening, and it was so bad that my boyfriend had to call me an ambulance because I thought I was genuinely dying. It's one of the worst pains I've ever experienced in my life. And anyway, I went for an ultrasound. I had restricted my eating so much and lost so much weight in such a short amount of time. I had given myself gallstones. I had an entire year of going through these incredibly severe gallbladder attacks. I was in and out of A&E, on gas and air in the ambulance because I couldn't breathe because the pain was so severe. I was given morphine by the hospital to take to try and deal with these pain attacks. And in August last year, I ended up having my entire gallbladder removed because I was stupid and I restricted my eating so much and I lost weight so quickly. And it's my own fault, but I'm now missing an organ because I wasn't careful enough. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I do not want anyone else to go through what I went through. It was the worst experience of my life. I didn't know what was wrong with me for a really long time. It took my doctor a long time to diagnose me with gallstones. You know, I thought I was dying. I thought I was going to die. It was awful. And it could have killed me. I'll skip that for now because all of that's not relevant to the weight loss. So if you happen to be on your weight loss journey, please do it carefully. I promise you it is not worth it. Even after all of the weight that I lost, it is not worth it. Please just do it carefully. Lose it slowly, and also losing weight slowly, it's more likely to stay off you, because if you lose it too quickly, you're going to gain it back pretty quickly. But if you lose it slowly, it's just going to stay off and your body's not going to gain it all back. Anyway, so that is what I did wrong on my journey, and now I'm going to tell you exactly what I did right and how I lost all of the rest of the weight and how I'm still continuing to lose the weight. So something I recommend doing at the start of your weight loss journey is taking your measurements, measuring your legs and your arms and your stomach and everything like that, because it's so much more useful than the scales. The scales can fluctuate quite often, especially if you're for water weight, muscle gain, if you're on your period. Your weight can fluctuate quite a lot when it comes to the scale, and it can be very demotivating to see that you've not lost any weight that week, or you've just lost a pound, or you've gained a pound. But with measurements, they're always going to show that you're starting to lose weight. So it's really important to take your measurements before you start losing weight, because that really helped me not be discouraged by the scales, because I knew that the measurements were different and I was losing the weight. Also, just remember that you won't see subtle, slow changes in your body. Other people will start to see them quicker than you, but because it's your body and you see yourself every single day, you're not going to notice subtle changes until it's a very dramatic change. Okay, so the very first thing that I did is create myself a lovely plan that I was going, like a healthy plan that I was going to follow to lose my weight. I wanted to figure out first how much weight I wanted to lose. So what was my ideal weight? What was the weight that I wanted to be at? So the way I did this was finding my BMI. So if you don't know what BMI is, it stands for Body Mass Index, and it uses your gender, your height, your age and your weight to determine if you are at a healthy weight. And bear in mind, a healthy BMI is anything from 18.5 to 25. That's like the average healthy BMI. When I was at my highest weight, my BMI was 32.9. 32.9. So I basically decided I wanted to be somewhere in the middle, because then it gave me some leg room. Like if I gained a bit of weight, it wouldn't matter. If I lost a bit of weight, it wouldn't matter. Also bear in mind, I'm not at that weight yet. I'm still on my journey. I've still got a bit of weight to lose, and I am going to keep making videos about that. But my BMI is currently about 24. So I'm in the healthy now, but I'm not where I want to be yet. Okay, so after I found my ideal weight, I had to figure out how many calories I was going to include in my diet. But before I did that, I wanted to figure out what exercise I was going to be doing. Now, when I started my journey, I absolutely hated exercising. I hated feeling sweaty. I hated feeling out of breath and tired. I wanted to find a sort of exercise that motivated me, something I actually enjoyed doing, and something I would actually stick to. I found the most amazing exercise for people that just don't have the time or energy to like exercise. And that is dance workouts, like dance party workouts on YouTube. If you just type in dance party workout, you will find some really fun videos. They're basically like 15 minutes long, and it's just following a really simple dance routine. It's so much fun, and it works out your entire body too. And it's not like high intensity workouts, so it's something to do if you're just like starting out your journey, or you just want to move your body more than you're doing now. I highly recommend them if you're struggling to find motivation to work out. Just give them a try, because honestly they are so much fun. So I decided I was going to do these about 5 times a week. Do like stretching for 10 minutes a day as well, because I wanted to also improve my flexibility. Like I said, they're not high intensity workouts, but they were realistic for me at the time. So now I had my ideal weight and my exercise all planned out. I needed to figure out how many calories I was going to consume in a day. So the way that I did this was I used a calorie calculator. You can find one of these really easily on Google if you just type in how many calories do I consume in a day, or just calorie calculator. But you type in, you know, your height, your age, your weight, all that kind of thing. Your exercise level, that part's really important, because the more exercise you do, the more calories you're going to need to consume. And it gives you sort of a guideline for how many calories you should be consuming. I think it gave me one for how many calories I should eat to maintain my weight, to lose 1 pound a week, and to lose 2 pounds a week. And I decided to go for the one that was 2 pounds a week, because I thought that was quite a realistic goal, to lose 2 pounds a week, especially because before I was losing like 4 or 5 pounds a week. But just make sure that you are consuming enough calories, and if you do try this and you're finding that you're just too hungry or you just don't have enough energy, just up your calories by 100 or like 200. Just do not starve yourself. Please don't do what I did. I just really don't want anyone to go through that, because it was absolutely awful. These calorie calculators aren't like perfect. They don't, you know, they can't check me and weigh me to see exactly how many calories I should consume, but they're just like a rough guide that you should sort of like loosely follow, if that makes sense. Also, I know calorie counting doesn't work for everybody. I know a lot of people don't like doing it because they think it is sort of like restrictive eating, but it really worked for me because it sort of got me used to the amount of food that I should be consuming. It's gotten to the point now, because I've been counting my calories for 2-3 years now, I can eat a day's worth of calories and it will still stick in my calorie limit, because I'm so used to the type of foods I would have been eating before, if that makes sense. In case you're wondering like how I tracked my calories, I used MyFitnessPal. I'm not sure if this is just an Android app. It's really good because you can type in every single thing that you're eating, and you can also scan them as well. If you just like scan the product that you're like gonna eat, it will come up with the calories and stuff, and you can log them on there. You can also set your goals, so what you want your goal weight to be, and also track your weight loss in there as well. But that's how I figured out the timeline for my weight loss, because I've used this for my entire journey. Okay, so now that I know my goal weight, my exercise, and how many calories calories I'm consuming, my goal felt a lot more realistic. So the next thing that I did, which I know won't work for everybody, but it really worked for me, is I set a deadline for when I wanted to lose a certain amount of weight. So I figured out how much weight I could lose in a week, and after trialing it and testing it, I figured out that 2 pounds a week was realistic for me. I figured out just how long it would take me to meet my end goal, so that I had sort of like, not a deadline, it was a very, very loose deadline. I gave myself extra time because, you know, for like cheat days and holidays and, you know, all the times that I might mess up and gain weight. But it was just nice to have that sort of bit of motivation for me. But it was a very loose deadline. It wasn't like really strict, but it just kept me motivated because I kept thinking like, oh yeah, by this time, you know, this time next year or whatever, I would have gotten to my goal if I continue and I stick to this diet. Does that make sense? Like, it really helped me, but I can see why that wouldn't be helpful to some people. So that was pretty much my plan, but I set some rules for myself. So I set a rule for treats and cheat days, and that rule was basically, if I want something, I'm going to have it. So there's just a point I want to make, and this is something that I stuck to very vigilantly with my diet. It's so important to allow yourself to have cheat days. Nobody can be on a constant diet. It's so depressing and it's really unhealthy for you. If I wanted to eat pizza or chocolate, I would have them. I would just include them in my calories and just like have them as a part of my calories. So if I wanted, for example, to have half a pizza for dinner one day, I would just eat a healthy breakfast and lunch, or I would eat better the next day, or I would exercise more the next day or whatever, but I would still allow myself those things. Also, if you slip up on one day, it's not going to ruin your entire diet. You can't gain 5 stone in one day. It's just not realistic. All it's going to do is make you feel a little bit bad, make you feel a bit guilty, but you can get straight back on it tomorrow. As long as you do get straight back on it tomorrow and you don't just have consistent cheat days, because that's not great. And also, like, as long as you're eating it in moderation, you shouldn't allow yourself to feel guilty about it, which is something that I have been working on quite a lot, is managing the guilt that I have around food and with eating bad foods. But just don't let yourself, just eat it and then forget about it. You ate it, so what? What's it gonna do realistically? If you have a chocolate bar, you really want a chocolate bar? Eat a chocolate bar. I eat chocolate bars all the time. I had a cookie after my dinner today. It was in my calorie limit. I'm still on a diet. I'm just eating in moderation. Like, I eat pasta pretty much every single dinner time. Like, no joke, every single dinner time. I love pasta. But I'm still losing weight because I'm still in a calorie deficit and I'm still exercising and I'm still eating in moderation. But I'm eating the foods that I love, and it just makes me feel so much happier that I'm not restricting those foods from my diet. If you want to know the kind of food that I do eat, I plan on making a video talking about like the food that I ate to lose 50 pounds, or like what I eat in a day to lose 50 pounds. So I'm going to be making that soon. So if you do want to see that, please subscribe, because I promise I will make that video really soon. So one more thing I want to talk about is motivation. I feel like so many people struggle with motivation, and that can be sort of like the main reason why a lot of people really struggle to lose weight. It's something that I struggled with so much when I was on my journey. Well, I still am on my journey. So there are a few things that really worked for me, so I wanted to mention them just in case they help anyone else. So something that I tried that really helped me was making a pros list. Basically a list of all of the reasons why I wanted and should lose all of this weight. So things like, you know, building my confidence, being able to wear specific clothes that I can't currently feel good in, all of that stuff. Whatever it is, everyone has their reasons for wanting to lose weight. Think about how you would feel, think about all of the things that you could do and all of the clothes that you'd feel more comfortable in, and just write a big pros list of all of the reasons why you want to lose weight. So if you start struggling, if you can't start slipping up and you start losing motivation, you can just look at it, just have it on your phone and just look at it and just remember, like, okay, yes, this is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I need to stick to it. Obviously, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to wear what you want and you shouldn't feel comfortable in your own skin as you are, but that's something that I feel. That's one of my pros. But obviously, you should have your own as well. Another thing that really helped me, which I wanted to mention because this might help someone else out there, was the realization that I am only 24 and I'm still really, really young, and I want to be able to live my young years at my goal weight, just wear all of the clothes that I really want to wear. And of course I'm not saying that if you're older than me that you've passed a deadline or anything. This is just my own personal like view on myself. It's just basically a way that I'm pushing myself to lose weight because I want to lose it now. I don't want to lose it in 10 years. I don't want to keep putting it off. I want to lose it right now and live my life now whilst I'm 24 and whilst I'm young. So basically I stuck to my calorie limit, I followed my workout routine, and I allowed myself to eat all of the foods that I wanted when I wanted in moderation, and the weight just naturally started falling off me in a really slow, natural and healthy way. I did have periods where my weight loss could completely plateau, and that's basically because my body got used to what I was eating and what I was doing, and that does happen to quite a lot of people. So when it did that, I always upped my exercise. Your body can get used to the amount you're doing, especially if you are gaining muscle. If you're not upping your exercise when it becomes easier, it's not really going to work as well as it would if you upped it a bit more. So if you are working out and you see that it's starting to become too easy, or just like a little bit easier than, you know, it doesn't feel like you're properly working out your body, just up your exercise more, and that should sort of like kick your body back into weight loss mode. Something I tried as well was just swapping out the food I was eating and sort of like fluctuate my calories a little bit, so eat more on one day, less on the next day. Does that make sense? Like zigzagging, I think that's called zigzagging. That also kickstarted it back up as well. So there are a few things I tried when my weight loss plateaued, but I eventually increased my exercise, so I was doing half an hour on the treadmill. I was walking like at a really high incline for 30 minutes on the treadmill, and that was such a like good fat burner. It just felt really good, and it made my legs burn really bad, but I think that really helped with my weight loss, and it made my legs so strong as well. So following this plan that I created, I was able to lose 50 pounds in about 30 weeks, which is about 7.5 months. I know 7.5 months is quite a long time, but losing weight slowly is so much healthier for you. As we know, you don't end up losing an organ like I did. So if you are currently on your weight loss journey and you're feeling a bit discouraged, maybe the weight isn't coming off, maybe the scale stopped moving, maybe you're not losing enough weight too quickly, or you just keep messing up, just remember to keep consistent, because consistency with weight loss is key. And if you keep consistent, you keep following your exercise and your diet routine, you will start seeing results. It might take a little bit of time. If you stick to it, I promise you, you will start seeing results. And that's coming from someone that had the exact same problem, where I just feel like it wasn't working, my diet and exercise wasn't working, but I just stuck to it and I did see those results. So I promise you, if you just stick to it, you will see those results too. And you can do it, because I promise if I can lose the weight, you can lose it too. I really hope this has helped at least one person get some ideas of how to create their own weight loss plan, or things that they can try for their weight loss journey. If you did find this useful, please leave me a like, and also comment down your tips and ideas for weight loss as well if you have your own suggestions, just so other people can read through them as well. If you want to see any other videos about my weight loss, like the food I was eating, or just any questions that you have, please comment them down below. I really hope that you all have the most amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.